There's nothing easy about elk hunting. Where is this bull? He's not talking, comes in at night, rakes, and then leaves. And then I spend all day trying to find him, and it's turning me into a crazy lady. Oh man, I'm trying not to be bummed out, but I'm just like second guessing everything. So I'm hiking up this ridge and I look over and I see a cow and she's looking down as she's feeding across the hillside. So I know there's other elk below her, but I don't know how many. So I go all the way up to the ridge and cut over and then try to get on their tracks. But the wind, it's very cool today, and so the wind is just steady blowing downhill and then swirly every once in a while. So the wind isn't very cooperative. So I sat up there for 2 hours waiting for, like, trying to get some consistent wind. It started to get consistent, so I started to move in and get on the tracks. Follow him in. I finally caught up with him and got within 30 yards of that cow bedded, and there was a little spike bedded with her. But honestly, I had no idea there were that many elk in the herd. So I backed off and about 60 yards from her, and then I just sat there for a little bit and just like, what do I do? Do I just rip out an aggressive bugle, or do I do some cow calls and try to get a bull out of his bed and come investigate? I elected to do some cow calls. My first little cow call I was a little nervous, kind of squeaky, not the best, because I was just nervous. And at the first little squeak out of my mouth, the whole forest erupted and the whole herd just took off. And I saw them go across the next ridge and the hillside over. One cow, one spike, another spike, about 7 cows, and then the bulls started to come. 1 branch bull, 2 branch bulls, 2 5s, 1 6, and then the biggest bull I've ever seen in my life. It's 7 by 7, just his head's all laid back, and he's just walking across the hillside. I mean, I didn't blow him out, but I don't know if the wind changed, and or my cow call was awful. It wasn't my best moment. I know that for sure. I was just a little nervous. First elk, first day, and first elk. But I mean, what would you have done? A big aggressive bugle? If you didn't know, with the composition of the herd, or cow call, I'm just second guessing myself. This is what sucks about hunting by yourself, is the mental mind games, the what ifs. You don't have anybody to bounce ideas off of. You don't have anybody back there calling, It's just you, and the mistakes are really freaking brutal. Put some face paint on when I came across a lone set of bull tracks, and I got really close to them, but I never did have eyes on them, and that's probably because the wind is just swirling today. I mean, it's 2 o'clock in the afternoon and it hasn't been steady all day. I've been in elk all day. It's such a blessing. It's nice and cool. It's 68 degrees. It's cloudy. It's overcast. I got all the way out to my hunting spot this morning and realized I left my binoculars and my rangefinder in camp, so I went all the way back, got that, got right in there at my first bugle, got a response, went up there, and I think it winded me. The wind's kind of swirly with this low temperature, but I'll take the low temperature. I don't know. Having a consistent wind's pretty handy. Oh, my tank is empty. I am tired. I have put in probably 10 miles today. Up, down, chasing elk. They bugle at the top. Hello, deer. And then they bugle at the bottom. And then they bugle at the top. And then you find them down at the bottom. And then you get right on them, and then they decide they don't want to play. But I did pass on a beautiful spike today. 42 yards. I'll probably regret that. I can't say I haven't had my fair share of encounters. Man, there are 4 bulls right down in this bowl. Couple spikes, and I counted at least 13 cows. That's a lot of eyeballs. I got within 150 yards of that bull, and all the bulls, they're all laying down together in a big chummy little circle. Got within 150 yards of them and screamed at them, and they got up and they break trees and they got all mad, but nobody wanted to come any closer. So I don't know if that's just that period of the rut, or I don't sound good, or it's 11 o'clock in the afternoon, they're lazy, but the wind shifted, so I backed out. I'm going to go back this evening because I have a feeling they're just going to sit in that nice little draw. There's water, there's aspens, and I'll see if I can't maybe like ambush them feeding out this evening.
As planned, I snuck back in that evening and got within about 50 yards of a little raghorn 4 and about 85 yards from the herd bull, who just would not leave those 3 or 4 cows.
It's so hard. Sometimes I just think I don't have any business being out here. God, it's just an emotional roller coaster. It's so frustrating. It's like golf a little bit in that I can hit the shit out of the ball. I can send it flying. But when you get into the small game, that's where it all falls apart. I can get bulls bugling, I can get them fired up, but as soon as I get in close, I can't get them to me and I can't get close enough. Oh my gosh, and just like that, I got up to this ridge and I bugled and the bull just fired right back. And so I close the distance, I bugle, he bugles. He starts raking a tree, I start busting branches, and I close the distance another 100 yards. And I start raking. I hit my bugle and I hear him coming in. Oh, he came in. He came in to 19 yards. And just stood there and looked at me. He had me pinned. And so I attempted a frontal shot. My shot is, my arrow is sticking out about 10 inches into his shoulder. So I don't know if that's deep penetration. I just went and looked, and I have a okay blood trail. Blood is spraying. I think that's a good sign, but man, I just worked so hard, and then get that moment, and maybe that's not a shot I should have taken, but at 20 yards, I mean, I'm pretty good at 20 yards. So I'm gonna give it here an hour and then go check it out. Hopefully I can find him and put another arrow in him. I shot a bull 2 days ago. One of the biggest bulls I've ever attempted a shot at. And I was so thrilled with myself the way I called him in. I've been working on my calls a lot in the off season, and I was thrilled with that. He came in straight on. He was standing at 19 yards. He still hadn't seen me yet. He looked like he was still going to come straight on. And I decided to take a frontal shot. That's the first time I've ever attempted a frontal shot. And I was a little off to the right. And I spent 2 days looking for him. Tracked him over 2.5 miles. And in that 2.5 miles, he never bedded. So I don't think I got a lung. I think I slipped it in between his shoulder blade and his rib cage. And that's an injury that he can survive. And I think that's what happened. It was really nice. He jumped the fence and went onto private property. And I called the landowner, and he not only let me continue to track that bull, he sent his ranch foreman out to help me. And we spent 12 hours looking for that bull. And we tracked it another mile once it crossed over the fence. That bull never bedded, so he never really felt sick. He went uphill, downhill. He went every direction. His manners, his behavior, he didn't act like he was hurt. When we examined the arrow in the blood, we think it was arterial and not lung blood, which I originally thought it might be. But it's a wound I think he can survive. It took me 2 days to kind of like process what had happened. And yesterday, like, I could not believe I missed that shot. I was off 2 inches to the right. And I don't want to say that I'm like overly confident, but I am confident enough to be out here hunting by myself and taking a shot at elk. And I feel like I practiced enough to be responsible. So I shot my bow last night. Somehow in the last couple of days, I must have hit my sight and it was off to the right. Like at 20 yards, it was off 1.5 inches. At 30, like 2 inches. At 43 inches, off to the right. I mean, lesson to myself, I should check my bow during the season while I'm hunting. And then another thing too, I noticed that when I was sweating and I'm hiking through the woods, my wrist strap had stretched and I was missing my anchor point. And so I took a notch out of my wrist strap and made it a little tighter. And so this morning I was just shooting bullets again and feeling much more confident. But you know, I've decided to continue hunting after 2 days of reflection and thought on this. I think that bull's going to be fine, and I'm pretty sure I heard him bugle again. Now that doesn't mean he's going to live, but I heard him bugle again. He's had a very distinctive bugle. And I even tried to call him in to see if I could get another shot at him, but he didn't come in. He was with a group of cows, and at that point, I was just feeling a lot of self-doubt. So it's taken me 2 days to screw my head back on and really process that, and I've decided to continue to hunt. I think that elk will survive. Unlike a couple years ago when I shot an elk and I knew it was a mortal shot and I ended up losing him. Like, I punched my tag and I was done because I knew that shot was the end of that elk. But I decided to take 2 days and process what had happened and make some adjustments, and I'm back out in the woods. Right now I'm at 7,000 feet. When I was hunting before, I was about 5,500 feet, and it looks like the elk are lower, so I'm going to head back down tomorrow. But I just needed to get out and explore country and get my mind off what had happened and really try to mentally get my confidence back. And my family has been so sweet in encouraging me, and so I'm back out and we're gonna see what we can see. Got a little pop up, and surprise, surprise, come here, Ann. There's my hunting partner. Hi, girl. Hi, girl. Let's go. It's girl. She stays in the truck while I go hunting. Drove all the way up to this great camp spot, set up my wonderful pop-up tent camper, and forgot the fuel for my stove. So my dinner tonight is home-style pretzels, dots. Good thing it's a big bag. I went from being into bulls almost every day to yesterday we jumped one. I'm hunting with a friend of mine for the next couple of days. Yesterday we jumped a little spike. Today we hunted till about 10 in the morning, then all of a sudden we got a nice big bugle. We got on the tracks of this bull. Oh my word. Check out the fresh manure and the froth. No, this is the froth from his mouth being like rutting and doing bull things. Check this out. So we've chased him, I don't know, for like a half mile. And I set up and I was calling and my friend was shooter, and all of a sudden he turns back at me and his eyes are like as big as saucers and he's like, call, call, call. So I start calling, and I guess what happened is we thought the bull was way down below us, and he might have been, but all of a sudden this cow comes running through the forest, her mouth open, followed by this bull, which was, I never saw him, but apparently huge. So now we're just kind of taking an afternoon nap, waiting for things to calm down and see if we can't go after him again. But fantastic. Wow. Well, had a full day of hunting planned today. It's not going to happen. It's been coming down pretty steady since 4:30. It's September 21st, and weather forecast called for cooler temps, possibly some rain, and a very slight chance of snow. Oh, as of 10 o'clock this morning, we're going on 6 inches. I guess in Eastern Oregon, that's what they consider a slight chance of snow. So anyway, hunting's been delayed for today, but look at this. Oh my gosh. Isn't this beautiful? It's just amazing. I love being out here. This is the best part about elk hunting, is just seeing it all. Yeah, it's snowing. You see how deep that snow is? Oh wow, well this is the last day for me. I started on September 4th and it is now September 24th. I took 3 days off in the middle of that to have some fun and go mushroom hunting and exploring, which was wonderful. It snowed one day, so that was 2 days I didn't hunt really. But other than that, I went hard every single day, and I had many encounters with elk. I think I called in 6 or 7 elk, but dang, this year the wind was my enemy. So close so many times, and the wind would booger me up. Anyway, I'm headed home. I want to thank all my friends and family. I just couldn't do it without you, because sometimes I get really down walking around the woods by myself pursuing elk. It can be so frustrating. Sometimes I think they're turning me into a crazy lady. Hey, stay at the end, because I have pulled some of my game camera pictures, and there's a picture of a bear in there that I'm told is a giant bear. I'm not a bear hunter, so I don't know, but I've been told that bear weighs like 350 pounds. I don't know. Check it out. Leave me a comment if you think so. And once again, thank you.